when we heard, we meaning El Calvario, my church, a few of us here heard about the call for just simple things like clothes and snacks for these families that were coming across the border. We didn't realize really what the situation was and why they were coming and the enormity of the situation. There are many reasons why these families are suddenly pouring into America, and that is because of the direct impact of increased violence, drug and sex trafficking, and poverty in Guatemala, El Salvador, Brazil, Honduras. So the process is these people, many of them are walking for 18 days to get to El Paso, to get to that border. When they get to the border, they walk across, they are immediately arrested, and paperwork is filed, but they have already been vetted by immigration before they're allowed to proceed here. And what that means is that there's a long period, sometimes 18 days of when they're held sort of in detention to determine if they are any kind of a threat to our country, if they're lying about their circumstances, because it has to be a dire threat upon their lives for them to be allowed to come through. So Ruben Garcia put out a call that a house, as we call it, Annunciation House, has gone from the usual 200 to 300 people arriving per week, which has been going on for years and years and years, to 600 to 800 people per week. So that's why he reached out to the diocese here, and we at El Calvario heard about this because of my close relationship with a sister here, Sister Beth, who is my good friend and partner in ministry. And we were talking, and she was hosting one of the families. This has only been happening for about a month. I think we've had 4 arrivals so far. And then my family got involved and helped with hosting a man and his nephew and a woman and her beautiful 16-year-old daughter. And it just got us all involved in putting a face on these people that we hear about on the news and all the controversy with all of that. And yet we had them in our home, and we're eating cookies and drinking hot chocolate. At the same time, the ankle bracelet kept going off on this mother's ankle. They are given ankle bracelets when they come across because they have to be tracked all the way to wherever they're going to reunite with their families. Most of them go to Los Angeles. Many of them go to Florida. The group last night that we just greeted, many of them from Guatemala are going to Virginia, because when they come across, they can't even have shoelaces. They have nothing but the clothes on their backs. They get off the bus and they have nothing. So I saw that need, and I thought, wow, it would be really helpful, I think, if we were able to hand each person a bag, a backpack, specifically that had things like toiletry items and snacks and things for the road, because they have these long bus trips ahead of them. And they can't have suitcases because there's a $25 charge on the bus for that. So the Backpack of Hope ministry was born as a response to just being able to give them something, because they collect things on the way. People are being generous, and they had plastic bags, and so it just made sense. So I presented this to our congregation. Our congregation immediately responded with generosity, and we started collecting the items as per the list that was put out by Annunciation House. And you know, one thing that's really happened that I've enjoyed as a pastor is that it's brought our interfaith community together in a different way, not just meeting for breakfast and talking about issues, but actually sharing the issue together and greeting these families together and hugging and crying and praying. And it just has brought some of us in clergy together in a way that since I've been here, I've not seen this happen. And so there's so many blessings to this whole situation that God has called us to. But the greatest thing that's on my heart right now from last night is it was the first time that I actually was there when the bus arrived. And to embrace someone that is coming here to save their lives and the lives of their children, to have them step off a bus and come into my arms, a total stranger, and embrace and be tearful, and them just saying, gracias, gracias, was the most divine moment I can recall since the first time I went into the jail to see those kids behind bars, to look at the face of Jesus that's disguised in these beautiful Guatemalan people, and for us to be rejoicing as if we're family, which is, of course, the kingdom. We're family, and we're all hugging and laughing and crying, and it was just this moment when time stopped, and then off they go to be, registered and the paperwork. But it was ministry at its best, and bringing up the best in all of us. So the sobering fact is, it's not going to be one and done. We didn't do all that yesterday and then, okay, we did that was good. No, this will go on every Tuesday, indefinitely, as long as we're allowed to do so. And so there is a sense of urgency among all of us that are getting involved, and hopefully there'll be more and more people involved, that we've got to attend to as many of God's people that are coming to us as possible. It also reminds us that we are contributing to this humanitarian crisis that's happening globally in a real and authentic way that makes us feel like we're actually doing something about Aleppo, because we're doing this. And that is a joining of our hearts in a way that is truly what we're called to do.